What's up, guys? So today's video is going to be on TikTok. It's probably going to be one of my favorite because we get to go and dive into a little bit of conspiracy theory. So I don't want to waste any time. We all know what TikTok is. That's we don't need to discuss that now. You've heard all this stuff saying national security risk, national security risk. Why? Why does this matter? Why are we so concerned about this? And then we'll talk about the business implications behind this of how much government should get involved. So there's a lot of thoughts in my mind. I'm just freeballing this because I did my research, and I've done my research in the past. I actually downloaded TikTok to see what it's about, deleted it, told my friends to delete it, but some listened, some didn't. So anyways, essentially, the best way I think I could describe TikTok, it's an artificial intelligence app. Now, you might not think that way or never even thought of it that way, but every single time your face is touching that camera, that's data that's being collected. Every single time you're liking something or you're reacting to something or you're sharing with something or you're at a location, that's data collected. So essentially the Chinese, and I'll explain why the Chinese government knows, but this data is going to go to somewhere. This data is going to paint a picture of your life. It's going to tell somebody exactly what you like, exactly what you don't like, exactly what can make you sad, what can make you happy, exactly where your favorite spots are, where your friends are, and now magnify this, and picking spots like what time you wake up, what time you go to sleep, and all this information is being collected off of this app. Now, the reason why we're getting involved is because TikTok claims that all the data is stored in Singapore and I forgot one other country, that the Chinese government doesn't have a hand in it, but we know that's BS. There was a while back with Huawei. I know news today moves so fast and we forget sometimes. But Huawei was caught up, tampering, with phones. And also, there's been parts of the U.S. military that we've had components made for on our some devices made that they had back-end chips that allowed somebody remotely to access the data and see what was going on. So there's no doubt in my mind that engineers could theoretically go into your phone, see what you're doing, turn your phone on, turn your audio on, listen, and all that. Once again, all this data is going back to China, and this is why. So the Chinese government passed a bill, I believe it's 2018, that they could come in and take any data they want from any company, and there's nothing you could do about it. Chinese officials are working for TikTok. The government sends in, it's like we had a congressman. If we would have our congressman go and sit in on a Facebook a board meeting or whatever to see what's going on in the company and which way that we can navigate it, and if it aligns with America's point of view. There's no doubt in my mind that China is going to get their hands on this data. And why, let's think of a bigger picture. Why is this important? If right now we could just barely get facial recognition and then we could start figuring out how you're going to look like, where you are, what you like, what you don't like, what your opinion is on things. Imagine how much more it's going to get in the next 4 to 5 years. Imagine how much more data is going to be collected on us. What makes us tick? What makes us move? Then let's imagine a 16-year-old today making a little video, doing a little thing, and they're just having fun, right? Just sharing stuff. Now let's say that 16-year-old goes on and, let's say they have a Forrest Gump life. They're sharing all this data, they're sharing all these messages, they got all this stuff going on. It's all being sent back to China. But this 16-year-old has an incredible life. They go to West Point, graduate, top of their class. They go serve in the military, they come out, they start a successful business. Boom, now they become a politician. Boom, now they move up, they become a high-ranking politician. Boom, who knows, maybe they become president of the United States. Well, who knows all of that person's secrets more than their cell phone? China would. And wouldn't that be in a very compromising position to be in, to be beholden to somebody? Maybe there's something you didn't want to get out. Just think about how much stuff is on your phone right now that you wouldn't want to share with your friends, families, or significant others. I could tell you, and I could rest assured, on every single person's phone, there is something incriminating that could possibly destroy your reputation, or at least compromise you, leave you open for blackmail, leave you open for whatever. Now, when you think about life at these scales, this is bigger than the money right now. This is national security, right? This is why the president is reaching in and saying, no, we need to stop this. And not just America. I mean, India's done it. And I'm sure other countries will follow suit too. I don't want to get off topic, but this is the one reason I don't believe in China long term. If you're not free, we can't do business with you. If you can't protect property rights or just human rights in general, we can't do business with you because there's no certainty, there's no trust. This is why TikTok is being dismantled. Now, so what's up with this deal? And why is it that government's involved? Well, we know it's because of national security, and Trump said that the U.S. Treasury wants a piece of that action, pretty much, if it gets sold, because they helped make the deal. Now, I don't know how much government should get involved into strong arming somebody. Even my worst enemy, China, which, hey, for the record, I have nothing against the Chinese people. God, I just want to put that out there because I really, I should start saying the Communist Party. So it makes it more, so I'm not like, I don't know, it always sounds weird because, the people, they're innocent. They have nothing to do with anything. It's, they probably don't even like their own regime. But anyways, got off topic now. I couldn't think about what I was going to say. I just felt really bad because I feel like I'm attacking them. But, how much should government have involved into saying what you can and can't do about your business? And that was a debate that was brought up now. But the thing is this is past just ordinary business, right? We're not talking about congressional hearings or whatever against like Facebook and Amazon and competitive agreements and stuff, or, destroying competition in a sense. We're talking about potentially the future of our country, right? That's why we're asking them to break up. But the ethical question here is, why would you force that sell? Why wouldn't you just have them just shut down completely? Which I think would probably have been a better move. And hey, if you want to make something, it becomes a power vortex. I know Facebook has Reel coming out or whatever, and I'm sure Google is going to try to crank something in, and Microsoft can make something too. Let capitalism work instead of, this is just like strong arming. And I can see why China's mad, but at the same time, it's kind of like China. This would have never happened if you wouldn't have been who you are, if you wouldn't have acted the way you act, So that's the roundabout thing. So we covered why it's a national security threat. We covered that it's pretty much a artificial intelligence company that gathers. Oh yeah, by the way, the creepy thing is when it's gathering that facial recognition of you, it knows when you're sad. It can know when you're happy. It's starting to read you. It's pretty creepy, weird stuff, but it's happening already. And China's already far ahead of any other country that I could think of at the top of my head when it comes to facial recognition programming, especially when what they're doing on the western side of China there and, the concentration camps and putting up surveillance and stuff. So no doubt in my mind that they're using it that way. But that's why it's a national security threat, because it compromises United States citizens. It leaves us open and vulnerable to pretty much a enemy of the United States in a sense. And we can't have that happen. We talked about the ethical decision of maybe we should shut it down so that having it be sold. Now let's talk about, well, what happens if it does get sold? Whatever, it gets sold for X price. What's the value of this? Some people say, data is the new oil, right? And it is, guys. I mean, I think we, like I said, I'm going to talk to you like if you don't know nothing. Obviously, you probably know this, but if you don't, data is very important, right? If I could figure out you right now, you watching this, what you like, what you don't like, and I could figure out exactly what I need to do to sell you something or to get you to think the way I want you to think, most valuable thing in the world. Because remember, earlier videos, money is just time, yada, yada, yada. Basically, it all comes back down to money. If I could, and basically, because you need money to be able to do the things you want to do in life. That's basically at the end of the day, the whole thing behind this, right? So if I could get this data, so if Microsoft, whoever could get this data, they could figure out exactly what makes you tick over the course of 5, 10, 7, whatever amount of years it is, then of course that company is going to be more valuable. If they realize that, the new hot thing is like silver bracelets or whatever, they're like, or whatever it is, and they could catch that trend quickly, they would be able to monetize that way faster than any one of us would be able to. They'd be able to throw up a store and start just copying the algorithm and throwing it out and selling it themselves. Or they could sell that data potentially to bigger companies and say, hey, if you advertise with us, we'll give you access to our people. So whoever ends up with this thing is tremendous. I don't think the Chinese government gives a damn about selling us cheap goods or any type of goods. They care about knowing who the hell we are and which way we're leaning and how we're thinking. It's very dangerous. If they know that political sentiment is extremely undervalued and under talked about, you get enough. Sorry, I said political. Well, I guess political public sentiment. Public sentiment. If you get enough public sentiment behind you for a certain cause, you could do whatever the hell you want. On either end, America could get enough public sentiment saying, "Yeah, we want to stop those concentration camps. Sign me up. I'm ready to go to war. I'm ready to die for this." Versus the same reason, we could switch the foot now. We could turn around and say, "Well, you know, America did kill off a bunch of Indians, and we sold Mexico's land, and we caused wars, and we treated black people like crap, and we treated other races like crap. And you know, who are we to say?" And if the public sentiment changes to that, then China can continue to do whatever they want. And this goes on and on and on and on. It's too important to let this data and this information go into the wrong hands, is basically the key pointing driver of this. When it comes to the business aspect, of course, we're going to trust American companies because we can hold them directly accountable. We know where their servers are, and if there's any leaks, you know, it doesn't take long before we figure out. I mean, just look at Cambridge Analytica, right? So those are the differences. Now, ethically and morally, you know, every day I feel like capitalism is more and more out the door, and we're just making up new rules. I mean, eventually that's going to happen under any type of rule that you have, right? But I would have probably, you know, if I was president, I probably would have just shut it down. But hey, this is going to be good political points for Trump, I guess, because he could beat the drum and say, "Look, I forced China to, give us money out of this deal." Because at the end of the day, he does have a point when he says that, you know, let's say Microsoft buys TikTok for $30 billion, that China is going to get a cut of that $30 billion. And we will never know the true origins and the true story. But I have no doubt in my mind, I know this full-heartedly, this is what I believe. Nothing happens in China at a big scale if the government doesn't have a hand in it. So there's no doubt in my mind that, you know, and this is where the conspiracy comes in, that China has a way bigger hand in not only getting TikTok up and going, but also making it what it is. That's what I believe. So recap this thing, national security, you know what's up now, you know, the ethical issue, I didn't mean to do that, but you know, it's like, we'll be able to debate that. Business-wise, whoever gets this, huge win. I'll wrap it up with what I think the evaluation is. Honestly, off the top of my head, I think the easiest evaluation to do is around Instagram's eval, and I would cut it in half. So I think it's worth $100 billion. I believe Instagram by itself is worth over $200 billion. That's what I think. Just because the amount of commerce data and everything collected, that's what I think it's worth. And I don't think it could be on Instagram's level yet. Who knows what the platform will turn into? But I would venture to say TikTok is probably worth about $100 billion in the very, very long run, not today's dollars. What I would pay for it, I think 30 to 50 billion around that ballpark is probably about right, because you're gonna have to pay a premium. But like I said, it's very different if me and you had like a partnership and we bought it, and very different when you have a Microsoft or a Facebook or a Google buy it and they integrate that with the product and services and create a bigger ecosystem. It is definitely worth that 200 billion for them. If you're Microsoft, you have the Microsoft Store, you have Microsoft Windows, now you have LinkedIn, and now you have a fun little, you know, sociable app that's collecting even more data that you can start selling your services and creating your ecosystem around this. Invaluable, man. So whoever ends up getting this, it's a win. Prediction is, though, I don't think anyone gets it. I think this goes into just a scrap. I think they're going to fight tooth and nail, and I think it's just going to get banned. And you know what? We had TikTok already. It was freaking Vine. So I'm sure somebody else will make something that's similar to TikTok. If it disappears, that will be an American company. Who knows? Maybe Snapchat could finally step up and, you know, revamp their app and copy some of the features, you know, kind of like what Instagram does. But hey guys, I had fun making this video. Hope you learned something new that you didn't know. Please help me by growing the page by sharing this with one person, and have a good week.